Okay, gentlemen, we are live broadcasting on both Facebook and YouTube. I'm Mark Shinneberry, and we are talking about management as a resource. Our host, Mark Banfield, had a conflict today, so he wasn't able to join us and asked me to fill in. I've got Ron Cotroneo with me from Florida and Alex Thayer from Michigan. Gentlemen, say hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Excellent.
So let's just dive right in and just have a good, vigorous conversation here. There's nothing scripted, nothing planned. We're just talking about using management as a resource. So when I say that, Ron, what comes to mind? What are you thinking?
Well, I look at it this way. I would ask salespeople to go visit their shop. Go into the shop, speak to one of their ASE certified techs, and look how they organize their toolbox. They are very organized. They know exactly where a 7/16 wrench is. They know what they need. They know where it is. They know how to grab it, use it, and apply it to the situation. They've got to realize, salespeople have to realize that managers are resources. They're tools. So they've got to know that, how do I utilize my manager the same way a tech would utilize his tools? Because your manager is a tool. You've got to get your manager to help you with TOs, with closing, with all aspects of retailing. And I remember one time when a manager that I first had, his name was Tony Leonardo, and I love the guy. Passed away some years ago, but what a great guy. And he used to tell me all the time, he says, you know what, Cotroneo, you make me a better manager. And I says, why is that? He says, because you constantly ask me questions. You know, he says, you're a pain in my butt most of the time, but I got to realize that I sharpen my skills every time I deal with you. Because I would always ask for help. I would always go use my manager as a tool, as a resource.
Yeah, well said. I love you're so right, your comparison with the ASC Master Certified Technician back there. They are very organized, and you do have to look in as a salesperson, what is your toolbox? You know, Mark, you had asked what the first thing that came to my mind is, you know, sit at your tool with your managers, sitting down with him, because you've been in the weeds with your customer, and tell them where you're at with the deal and how do I close this deal? Tell me what to say.
Yeah.
And good managers on the ball, they're following your deal, and they give you talking points to go get. And that's the best resource as an engaged manager like that.
We say a manager loads your lips. You know,
Yeah.
so they're going to listen to you, and they're going to send you back in and say, okay, say this. Now, you got to remember that your manager is getting paid by everybody on the sales floor. You're getting paid by you. So you want to make sure your skills are always on the upbeat. You're always getting better. And the way to get better is keep asking for help and keep using your resources.
That's absolutely right. You know, if you lean on your manager, they are going to load your lips. And if you really think about it, they're outside the box. When you're sitting there with that customer, you're in the box, right? You're zoned in. They're telling you what they think they know, right? Because the customer doesn't always know what they think they know. But you're working the deal, no matter what the case may be. You might be talking numbers. You might be talking product. The manager is a sounding board, right? They're outside the box. They're looking at the bigger picture, and they might have an idea. Well, for instance, think about this. If you haven't even landed the customer on the car yet, they're not sure which vehicle they want. The manager might be aware of a piece of inventory that just came in or is en route that you're not aware of.
Yeah.
They can show it to you or point it out.
Well, that's exactly what the point is. The point is, you know, get people involved. I've always said, I'm going to go to my manager as a last resort. I'm going to try and close as many deals as I can on my own. I'll go to the manager just when I really need him, but I'm going to use him appropriately because, like I've said this before, the manager is going to want to make a deal. Nothing wrong with that. I love it. but he's going to make a deal at all costs. So he's going to crop your deal. He's going to, you're going to be working your butt off, and you didn't make a whole lot of money. The manager's going, okay, that's one more tick on my gun. So use the manager as needed appropriately.
Yeah,
but always use them.
A lot of times too, you can use the manager as a stopgap in lowering that price, and actually they can help you just stop the madness, say no to the customer, and earn you more gross as well.
Sure, they can.
So I think the takeaway in large part is do your job and follow the process. And when you're at an impasse or need help with that customer on what to do and where to go, definitely have your manager involved.
I used to always get my manager off his seat. I used to say to him, "You're not wearing your Velcro pants today, are you?"
Come on out, say hello to my customer. And close it.
They go sit down on that chair. They don't want to move anymore. You got to get his butt out of that chair and say, "Come here, say hi to my customer." I want the customer to meet the 800-pound gorilla before they have to, because they're fearful of that manager. It's like going into a timeshare. If you've ever been to Florida and went to a timeshare, oh my God.
So think about that. Talking about that, getting the manager involved. If you're going to use the manager as a resource, when should you get that manager to engage with your customer for the first time?
Alex?
I think as far as just an introduction, we've said this before, but the manager should be introducing themselves early in the process, so that when they do need to get involved, it's not the customer already knows the manager. It's not just a shock to the customer. So get them involved early, so that when you do need him as a resource with your customer, it's an easier introduction to them.
You've got to realize that the manager, and I second Alex's comment in reference to the manager should be moving about. I always say managers listen to WIIFM, and that's, what's in it for me. Get off your seat, get out, just walk up to someone and say, "Yes, hi, folks, my name is Ron. I notice you're with Frank. Just to let you know, I'm one of the managers here, and I'll be happy to help in any way I can. Thank you for coming in. Enjoy your visit." Make it quick, shake his hand, give him a cookie, and then move on. But you got to be moving around. You got to you're doing audibles all the time.
Yep, nothing threatening. I love that. I love that concept.
Yeah, it can make a big difference in just taking the pressure off of the customer at being inside a dealership.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. When I was running a big Harley store in Miami, my salespeople knew this. They would know that they can always get me to do something for them with a customer. And the thing I used to love to do is say, "Okay, Mr. Customer, let's go take a ride." And they'd get on the bike they're interested in, and I get on another bike, and we go out for a 15, 20, 30-minute ride. Because they have to own it mentally before they'll pay for it financially. So my job was to help with the mental ownership.
Yeah, that's awesome. I bet that worked a lot too, especially with motorcycles.
Oh, hell yeah.
With cars, right? I couldn't imagine.
It made my day go pretty quick too.
Yeah. Sold 5 bikes and spent 5 hours riding.
There you go. Where you going? We're going to go up to Lake Okeechobee. We'll be back in about 4 hours. And when they came back, they had to buy it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Stepping the customer to the sale. I was thinking too, there's a dance with the customer and the salesperson in the whole process, right? You're dancing with the customer, and the manager is there kind of as the conductor or the what is it called when you lay out the dance? But the person, choreographer. Yeah, he's the choreographer. But you have to have that person back that's overseeing to help get the deal continued in the right direction.
Of course. That's why he's there. Use him.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely
They'll
right.
love you for it. Or she'll love you for it. They'll love you for it.
So often salespeople are hesitant to go to the manager, to utilize the manager. Why is that? We've already touched on some of this, but I want to really focus on it, just talk about it.
Well, they don't want to admit that maybe they're not as good as they think they are. And by going to the manager too quickly, it just shows how weak they are, their weakness. And that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are just afraid of it. And they shouldn't be. The manager, everybody should be there to accomplish a common goal. We have to sell units. We need to make a profit. We have to get CSI scores up. We need to engage everybody necessary to create the most positive outcome.
Is it safe to say that each individual manager has their own style?
Sure. Yeah.
And in turn, each individual salesperson has their own little unique style or quirk.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So think about this. The more often you engage with your manager proactively, early in the process, you're going to get more comfortable with what their expectations are.
Yes, you are.
And they're going to get more comfortable with how you work and what you're expecting from them as well. Because it's a two-way street, right?
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. Part of that dance too, and the choreography is, I know oftentimes when the salesperson goes up to the desk with the customer, they've got just showed them a car, and they're getting the deal going, and the sales managers, all right, down payment, what's their budget? Do they have a trade? What are they doing with their lease? And starts peppering the salesperson with questions. It's because they want to get a handle on the deal so that they can help guide you the best way possible to close that sale. And it can be frustrating as a salesperson to just, why is he peppering me with so many questions? Come on. But everybody take a step back. What's our goal here is to have gross profit and to sell the car. So it is certainly a two-way street and a dance, three-way street.
Well, that leads me down another little path, right, that we're already on. As you know, as you're working more closely with the manager and you're open to what, they're asking the same questions every time, right? Right. And we've all worked the desk, right? We've all sold cars. All three of us have worked the desk and worked deals.
Yeah.
And we've been the guy both getting peppered with questions when we were the salesperson. And then we've been the guy peppering with questions, right? Because we're trying to figure out what's the dynamics of the customer, the deal, the whole thing, right? Well, as you as a salesperson get to know that manager, you're going to have those questions answered already.
One of the things I used to teach managers was that when your salesperson comes to the desk to start the deal, to get his initial worksheet, to go back in and present the initial figures, have that salesperson stand there or sit down next to you and ask him this question. Tell me about your customer. I want to find out where they're at with that customer.
Absolutely.
Tell me about your customer, Alex. Now, I did this at a store in Richmond, Virginia, some years ago.
Yeah.
And I said to the customer, to the salesperson, tell me about your customer. He said, he's over there. What's his name? What's his name? His name is Bob. I says, really? So tell me about Bob. Couldn't tell me anything. Now, another guy comes up and I go, tell me about your customer. His name is Alex Thayer. He's married. He has 2 small girls. He's driving a truck right now that he loves. He wants to replace it. He needs something a little bit bigger, more powerful. His wife's a homemaker. Alex is an account executive with a retail firm in the community. His daughter's involved in local sports and athletics. Real nice people. I think you really enjoy meeting them. I got a relationship.
Yeah.
We've already broke bread. We've done cookies. Have some fun.
Yeah, it does make a difference.
I didn't get this way by not eating cookies.
Ron, you just said something that has been a benchmark of my career in the automotive business. Have some fun.
Exactly.
Think about it. If you have fun, and you're making money, you're there, right? And the more fun you have working, the more money you can make.
Mm-hmm.
It's this is a fun business we're in. It's fun to help people find the automobiles that they want, or like Ron was saying earlier, find the right motorcycle, right? Think about how much fun Ron had doing demo drives on motorcycles around Southern Florida.
Yeah, talk about bonding with your customer too. I mean, that's a great ride. Yeah.
No, take them out. Take them out for. I mean, as a manager, depending on how your store is divided up, you got 2 managers and you got 10 salespeople, and there's 5 apiece on each team. It depends on how things are divvied up. But if you can get yourself a little more engaged, and your salesperson can understand he could use you for certain parts of the process, he's got to know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That means you take the customer on the demo drive. Take them on a demo drive.
Absolutely.
We should never be afraid to engage the customer and get them talking.
No, I am a firm believer that we should, as a manager, we should be talking to the customer early and often in the process, not just when it's time for to talk about money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the earlier in the process, the easier it makes, for sure.
Yeah. So let's talk about, just real quick, let's just touch on this. Expectations. If you are going, and of course, let me paint the picture before we jump into this hole that we're about to jump into. Every dealership, every process is going to be a little bit different, right? There's going to be different expectations, but there is also going to be the core expectations. When I say this, if you're going to your manager to help you work a deal, to use them as a resource, as we're talking about, what information should you have every time? What should you be prepared with? You touched on this already, Ron, so why don't you start off?
Well, obviously, you've got to have a vehicle selected. You've got a vehicle selected. You've queried the customer enough that you kind of know where he needs to be budget-wise. You didn't sell him a $48,000 vehicle when he's got a $30,000 pocketbook. You've got the best conditions working to make the best deal. So listen to your customer, ask the appropriate questions. When you go to your manager, give the manager that information. And if you bring your manager in for a TO, make sure that manager is prepared to go in there and handle the TO, and don't interrupt him. Let your manager do the TO. If the manager asks you a question, answer it short, brief, and shut up again.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So, Alex, I'm going to throw this to you.
All right.
You've owned a few dealerships.
Mm-hmm.
You've ran a few sales desks. What are your expectations if a salesperson is coming to you? You're at the sales desk, whether you're working the deal, whatever the case may be, that you're there, you're busy. It's a Saturday. You got customers all over the place. Every salesperson has somebody at their desk. What information are you looking for? What should your salesperson be prepared to answer?
Yeah, it's like Ron's question earlier that he demonstrated the sales manager. All right, tell me about the customer. Where are we at? Where are you at? What's the next steps? What's the customer's expectation today? And I gotta have stuff back. Otherwise, all right. So, did they like the car they drove? Oh, you didn't drive a car with them? What are they here to look at? All right. Grab these keys and just show them that car. But they just want a price. That's fine. I'll gather the price while they're driving the car that they're about ready to own. If the salesperson hasn't spent time with the customer, they almost have to go back and get them going on part of the process and moving the deal forward. But they kind of have to go back and learn more and spend some time with the customer, asking questions and understanding.
If you as a manager hold the salesperson's feet to the fire, he or she is going to learn very quickly, I can't go to him unless I've got these ducks in a row.
Yeah.
And when I have my ducks in a row, my manager is more productive. See, if your manager can't be a resource that improves productivity, why use them? You've got to engage the manager.
Yeah.
And like I said, I had two guys that when I sold Fords, I loved these guys. I loved them. They were like my parents away from home, but they trusted me. I trusted them, and I used them as appropriately with each deal.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a manager, what should you be prepared for? What kind of commitment should you be prepared to make when you start the day? You unlock the door. Customers are going to be coming in, and of course, we never know when they're going to come in, right? We have 4 hours of absolute quiet. People working the phones, of course, because all our salespeople are on the phones and sending emails and prospecting, right? And it's 100%.
Absolutely.
Right? So, ideally, right? But what should you be prepared for, and what should you do as a manager for your salesperson? So we're asking the salespeople to be prepared and have questions answered and have all their ducks in a row when they come to the sales desk asking for help. As a manager, what should we do? Anybody? Ron? Alex?
Yeah. For me, it's in the morning, reviewing the hot deals, the working deals. What do we need? What do the salespeople need to follow up with today so I can make sure that they're keeping activity going. I think the biggest thing is to make sure you have yourself in PMA, positive mental attitude. I think that's one of the single most important things is you can't sell cars if you're not feeling good, you're hating where you're at today, and if you want to be somewhere else, you got to have a positive mental attitude and push your people for the same.
If you don't expect to have a good deal, you're not going to have a good deal or a good day. So I'd like to do exactly what Alex said. I'd get my team together up in the tower for a few minutes, and we do save a deal. Okay, Alex, what about your customer Jenkins? Mark, what about your customer Smith? Boom, boom, boom. Where did we leave off? How did they leave the dealership? Where are we? What do we need to do? What do we have right now that's ready to break? And pursue that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. About halfway through my career, it's only been a few years, right? One of my friends went to work, changed industries, right? I had worked with him years ago, and he went to work in the hospitality business, and he went to work for Marriott, and then we were exchanging, like we're doing right here, just having conversations, talking about business and customers and how you deal with them. And one thing that I took away from our conversation is when you're in a hotel or something like that, especially the high-end ones, all the employee stuff is backstage. It's all behind the scenes. We don't see it when we stay at the hotel. And you know what they had at every door before you went from where all the employees were? In the backstage area, out into the lobby or where the customers were, where we are, they had a mirror. And right over the mirror, it said, "You are going on stage." And the whole concept was to prepare yourself. You are going to be meeting the customer. You are going to be engaging with the customer. You are on stage. Prepare yourself mentally, physically. Not only, make sure your hair is combed and your tie is straight, but mentally make sure that you're prepared to go out and smile and talk to that customer. And we need to do the same thing in our industry. I'm a firm believer of that. And both the salespeople and the sales management, well, everyone for that matter, anyone that's going to be engaging with a customer, they need to be prepared for that. But to get back to specifically talking about the management as a resource, the manager has a commitment that they have to make to the salesperson to be that resource, to be prepared, to have that positive mental attitude, like Alex was saying. And the salesperson, the same thing. They have to be prepared and have a positive mental attitude. You guys agree?
Absolutely. Yeah.
A lot of times you'll see managers, you'll go up there with a deal and you're all excited about it. And the manager says, you don't have anything here. Throw him back and get another one. I just worked with this guy for 2 hours. What are you saying to me? that salesperson
Me, I don't have anything.
is going to try to avoid you next time. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear that I have possibilities, that I have an opportunity. Everything's an opportunity. You'd be surprised. Some guy comes in and all of a sudden he's driving out. Why? Because we all work towards the common victory.
Yeah.
Yes, agreed. So we're getting close to our time. I think we've had a pretty decent discussion. What do you guys think so far?
I think so.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
enjoyed it.
Any thoughts? What do you want to add to this? Where we're at? I mean, I think it's pretty clear, but
Well, I think that we have to realize that yes, management is a resource. We have to learn how to use that resource. We have to also treat that resource special. In other words, respect your manager, appreciate your manager. At the end of the day, and you leave, say, thank you, boss, for a great day. Let them know you appreciate them. People, the deepest human need we have is the feeling to be appreciated. Say thank you.
Yeah.
that is so true, Ron. That is so true. Alex?
It does it makes a difference. Hey, good job on that deal. And you do have to encourage your staff. And yeah, absolutely. Well said.
Absolutely. Both ways, right? We all have to respect each other, and we have to appreciate and respect what we're doing for each other, because let's face it, selling cars really is not an individual effort. It's a team effort.
Yes,
Right?
it is.
Yeah. That I was just thinking too, it's, the salesperson and manager and even the customer, everybody's got the same goal. We want that customer to buy that car. Customer wants to buy the car, and you got to make sure you're working together appropriately.
Absolutely.
Using the manager as a resource.
Absolutely. So, let me just say this, I'm going to wrap this up, and if you are out there watching this and you need help with process, people, anything, we are available to help. All right, and our phone numbers and email are listed on the screen. It doesn't cost any money to call or text these days, because it's not like it used to be with long distance calls. Right, you can call anytime. If you need help, reach out. Now, if you call my number, I'll probably charge you by the minute, but that's a joke. But seriously, call if you need help. We're available to help. This is what we do. We help car dealers, not just car dealers, actually any small and medium-sized business improve their operations.
See, this is their chance to use us as a resource. We are an absolute resource. Pick up the phone. I mean, I'll tell you anything you want. Call me up and say, I got a problem. I need a close. I need this. I'll be happy to help you. If I can improve my value, I'm not going to be traded like a head of lettuce. I'm going to be traded like the worthwhile specific that I am.
Absolutely. Alex?
I thought it was a good conversation today. I appreciated it. Email me anytime, any questions, and I'll be happy to answer anything that I can for folks that are out there. So yeah, I enjoyed the conversation today.
You got a free resource, utilize it.
We do this every Thursday at noon. Sometimes we change up people. Sometimes we're not on if we've got conflicts, but we try to do it at noon. It's usually a good, vigorous conversation. And join us.
Excellent.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.